Our first stop this time is Belvidere and an historic old mill that's still in operation, one that's become quite an attraction for visitors. Nowadays, John and Jane Lovett run this home of historic technology, and, well, Rob Wiles went down to share the Falls Mill experience with us.
Who doesn't like dipping their feet in a brisk stream, huh? And the sound of running water, that's delightful right there. The people who came here to this spot in Belvidere in the mid-1800s, they probably enjoyed the same things, but that sound of water running meant something else to them. It was the sound of industry and progress and a better way to do an important thing. And so they built a mill here, and it's still in operation today.
It's a 32-foot water wheel, and it operates all the machinery in the mill. It was converted to a grain mill in the late 1960s, and we still mill grain products today by power from the water wheel.
John Lovett and wife Jane are the owners of Falls Mill, which was first built as a cotton mill and woolen factory back in 1873. It's still a working mill, though its purpose has changed.
We grind about 30,000 pounds a month, and it's mostly white corn for grits. That's our biggest selling item. And we ship those to about 170 restaurants all over the United States. We also ship to some distributors and then a lot of individuals that order from us.
Why do you suppose people want the grain does it taste different?
Well, we think it does. When it's milled fresh like that, and the stone burr milling process is a slicing rather than a crushing process, so the nutritionists think that it retains more of the nutrient value when it's milled that way. So there's, as you know, a movement now back to natural products and local products, and I think that's catching on, and a lot of people are looking now more to stone ground products. So even some of the larger milling companies now are converting to going back to stone milling.
One of John's duties, along with being one of the owners, is to try to keep the machinery running, which he really loves doing. You see, he's an engineer by training, and so he has a great respect for the inventors who figured out how to harness the water.
When you look at some of the machinery we have in there, particularly the woolen machinery that we're restoring, it's unbelievable really how much genius went into the design and the thought into patenting those types of machines. And for that period, say between 1860s and 80s when most of those were made, the amount of ingenuity is just unbelievable.
People are so clever.
Yes, they are. And we don't give those back in that time period enough credit, I think, for their genius.
If you're going to run a mill, you need a miller, right? And Falls Mill has a good one, William Janey, who started working in mills in 1964. He's still going strong and happy to pass along what he knows.
As time goes on and you see a lot of people that I can remember in the early years of my milling, passing on, I miss people like that and stories of them going to the mill, and it's beginning to mean a little more to me.
Especially when these kids come through. I bet they're fascinated by all this stuff.
Oh yeah, they teach a lot of children about green energy, and this is hands-on here. They can come here. It's got a way of captivating their attention out there at the water wheel, and I think that's really important. I love for children to see this sort of thing.
Ooh, there's another waterfall!
Kids come by the hundreds on school trips like these from Heritage Elementary in Birmingham, and on family vacation.
It's beautiful!
To take in the scenery and splash in the creek. Along the way, learning a little about long ago life. Not just seeing, but experiencing, which they all seem to love to do.
You want to help me upstairs too?
Me
okay.
too. Can I be the second one?
On the second floor of the mill, John and Jane have put in the Museum of Power and Industry.
Drop it in, Matthew.
One of those at a party.
All right, let's see how it works. See the papers turning? We really feel like we're stewards of an historic site, and to allow young people who have no concept of where all this comes from, and for them to see the power transmission for the first time. And it's really exciting. They'll start with a video that tells about the history, but with a guided tour, we talk about the early history with textiles and the cotton gin and the woodworking shop, and then we demonstrate the corn milling. And they get excited with the sound of the machinery and the grain, and then when they come out to see the water wheel, it's like, wow, they love it, absolutely love it. And that makes you feel good, like you're doing something and you're helping to instruct future generations to preserve something that's really worthwhile.
Definitely worth your while to pay a visit to experience the beauty and the ingenuity, both in abundance, at Falls Mill in Belvidere.